that extends south along the coast of the country.
We continue to watch the ongoing severe weather threat that is going on. Active tornado warnings that are in effect for
a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
Monitoring these storms for quite some time, and this is something that really been picking up on radar very well as our velocity modes, Carl. It's been one of those things where it has been very active, and there have been observed tornadoes on the ground with debris balls being picked up as well.
Yeah, no question about that. It's been a very scary afternoon and evening here into parts of Oklahoma. Let's take a look at the latest on the warnings southeast of Oklahoma City. There's an ongoing warning here for Cleveland and Pottawatomie counties. Also warning upstream of that as the storm changed direction. This thing was really well formed just moments ago. Now not quite as much. I'll go back a couple of frames right in there. You see that? That was a tornado. No question about it. Absolutely a tornado near the Etowah area. Very well-defined, what we call debris ball. There's a lot of forest in this area southeast of Oklahoma City, and so that's probably a lot of tree debris that was showing up there. When you look at the latest velocity data, it's not nearly as impressive as it was moments ago. Go back a couple of frames, so right in there, that's where we saw that very strong circulation, very strong winds flowing toward the radar and moving away from the radar. Then the next couple of frames, you see that it got a little weaker, a little thinner, and so that could very well have been the tornado beginning to enter the rope stage at that point. And now in these most recent frames here, just seeing some hints, some vestiges of that rotation, but it's not nearly what it once was. Nonetheless, let's track that out just to be on the safe side, and that's going to be coming up towards that intersection of 102 and Route 9. Looks like it's going to be in a largely rural area as that continues to move towards the northeast. But that cell is headed towards Shawnee generally, so if you're in Shawnee, Tecumseh,
a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
See if that thing develops, because it has been doing this thing where it kind of goes back and forth from being intense to not being as intense. Now, farther north, got an ongoing warning here for Canadian and Cleveland and Oklahoma counties. Also a warning in effect for, I'm going to jump just a little farther up, for Cleveland and Oklahoma counties. And we're looking at a considerable threat tag for the possibility of some golf ball size hail. So very large hail coming right into near where the radar is here. That moving to the east of Midwest City. And just kind of following that core, that worst part of the storm. That's going to be coming into Woods, also moving into Stella and Newalla as well. So it could be some very large hail along with that. You see things are beginning to clear out in Oklahoma City. So most of what we have seen today has been reports of large hail. We have seen a couple of reports of tornadoes. We had a massive tornado which did cause pretty serious damage in the Cole area, maybe up into Goldsby as well. Another tornado just recently reported near Etowah. That's the one that we just talked about. And then a lot of reports of some very large hail, golf ball and larger size hail. And then here you see the tornado watches that are in effect. Tornado watch for Oklahoma City and points south until 11 p.m. Another one up into Tulsa going into midnight tonight. But we've got a severe weather threat extending much farther to the north, and Todd's got the latest on that for us.
And Carl, this is something that continue to watch what is happening in Kansas, the ongoing tornado threat, an observed tornado that continues to be here in Kansas. And with this, we're now just to the west of Americus. So the tornado warning for Lyon and Morris counties, that is until 9:45 local time. So this is something that at least looking at this in the past, we actually had a good hook echo being picked up on a reflectivity and really
a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
The name Toledo's almost in the way there, but what we're seeing was a bit of an inflow notch that was being picked up there, and this is again been observed by National Weather Service employees that have been on the ground off duty. National Weather Service employees have been on the ground, as well as law enforcement. And the circulation is just off to the north of that now. So again, when I circled that, that was a couple of minutes ago. What we're now looking at is right about here. That is the main circulation. Going back, does notice that it does have almost more of a north by northeast push as opposed to off to the south. And also there's a little bit of rotation that could be picked up here as well. So these are both what I'm going to end up doing. I'm just going to end up just almost taking them both and just going to use almost a squall line with that and then track that thing out. So Americans, this thing's almost atop you. This is the time that you really need to take cover immediately. Again, we are talking about an observed tornado that has been on the ground at a period of time, and now we are tracking in your direction. 9:10 is your time here in America, so that is just really minutes from now. There's no time to be doing anything else other than getting inside. Obviously, the most interior room of your house, if you have a basement, that's where you want to get into, and try and get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you're able to grab bike helmets and tennis shoes, make sure you bring that down with you as well. I do want to show you some of the reports that are coming out, and this is why the tornado threat was out there, is that we had debris reported from this in and around just to the north and west of Cottonwood Falls. Strong city law enforcement off-duty National Weather Service employees reported the tornado, and then on top of this, there's a huge hail threat. Reports of ping pong and even baseball-sized hail that's all coming out. So this is a multi-tiered severe event. Cottonwood Falls being having the reports there of 2.5-inch size hail. So it's absolutely devastating. Farther off to the north, Douglas, Osage, and Shawnee counties in Kansas. We had the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. Now the hail starting to pick up a bit here as well. Going back a couple of frames, you can see how the hail is starting to pick up. So this is again another area in Kansas we need to worry about. This is just an estimate that is about 1 inch and about 1/10 or so, but this entire area remains under a tornado watch. I'm going to get right back down to it again. The tornado warning remains in effect for Kansas. That is for Lyon County and Morris County in Kansas. We also have the tornado warning that also remains in effect for parts of Oklahoma. So this is something that is a very dangerous situation. The latest scan just came in here. I just wanted to get this out as well. So I'm going to go back, and again, you can almost see two almost distinct, but still looking at the most part, the best circulation coming right about here, but also a bit of circulation come out of this. Either way, Americas, take cover now.
Our second day in Peru.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of severe storms. We have been looking at some very dangerous storms in Oklahoma as well as into Kansas and Iowa. Let's begin in Oklahoma, where we've got ongoing tornado warnings now. Cleveland, Pottawatomie County under warning, and then another warning farther to the east. I want you to notice the evolution of these cells. It's pretty remarkable. So you've got one tornado circulation lifting up right there, and then another one coming in off to the west here. New tornado warning associated with that. So let's take a look at this one that is off to the west here. First of all, that's the newest warning in effect, and that is moving east right now, looks like, although it might be lifting up. These things have been doing this thing where they've been turning to the left quite a bit, and so just tracking that forward, that looks like it's going to be coming into the Pink and Little Axe areas as well. We're watching this appendage right there. Let's look and see what it looks like in the velocity data. Not, profound circulation in the velocity data, but there is definitely an appendage there. And then looking farther east up into Pink, this is the one that, has been kind of back and forth. It was very, very strong near Etowah. We did have a report of a tornado near Etowah right there. And then you see the storm lifting up. I mean, just incredibly strong right there. I mean, right there was absolutely a tornado. Just no question about that. Then you go farther north, starts to weaken a little bit, but then we see a resurgence, and it begins to lift up and towards the Pink area. And now in this most recent velocity scan, I'm not seeing as much evidence of circulation. So this thing has been kind of back and forth for a long time now, as it has also been taking a left, kind of hanging a left. So this is one of the areas of circulation. It's kind of now coming into the pink area, but it's not as well defined. You see it's showing up right here and not as well defined right now. And then another area which is right in there, and we'll need to watch that and see how that evolves over the next few minutes here. Now, farther to the north, got another warning in effect, severe thunderstorm warning, and that is for areas along Interstate 40, Cleveland and Oklahoma counties under warning for the possibility of some very large hail. That coming across the I-40 corridor. Golf ball size hail is the threat here. Most of what we have seen today has been golf ball size hail, but we have had several reports of tornadoes as well. Here you see the most recent reports, one reported in pink or near pink, another one reported in Etowah, and then another one into the Cole area. And we did see some pretty significant damage there in the Cole area, but also a lot of reports of large hail, many reports of golf ball size hail and larger. So there are tornado watches that are ongoing for central parts of Oklahoma until late tonight, but this is not the only area that we're watching. There are also really serious storms into Kansas and into Iowa. Todd's got the latest on that for us.
Yeah, we've been tracking the tornado warning that's been ongoing here in Kansas, and that continues to be an issue, particularly just to the north now of Emporia. Going to zoom in and where this cell is. Now, over the last couple of frames, it did look like the circulation has not been as tight as it once was before, but I'm still very much concerned because there was a decent hook echo here. So this is an ongoing tornado warning for Lyon County here in Kansas. Going to go back and just show you some of the frames earlier. This is reflectivity mode, and right to the north, this is the part that was much more concerning. Right here, we had a strong inflow notch there. You had a really decent looking hook here on radar. This is back about 5 minutes to the top of the hour, so that was roughly about 20 minutes ago. And then as I continue to track this farther ahead, it does look like Americus, that the cell did move its way through. And so if we are looking at this tornado warning for Lyon County, got these the city or the street level mapping here. So some of these roads that are greatly impacted right now. Road 270, also looking at Road D to the north of Americus. Also, Road 310 is all part of this as well. And you're also seeing a decent amount of hail that's also coming out of this as well. So just going back and just showing you the hail tracks. This is just amazing. Some of the reports we're seeing as far as the hail goes. Again, anywhere from an inch-size hail, had some reports of even ping-pong-size hail that was approaching. So Americus are already seen some of the bigger hail heading your direction. So again, as far as the reflectivity mode here, looking back, and again, there was interesting, but I mean, the circulation was much better here with that tornado warning that was there, but then that broadened out a bit, and then really that circulation moved over to Dunlap. But now we have a little broader rotation that has just moved through America. So I'm just going to move this thing out. And again, Americus is just basically on now the northeast side of town for you. And again, that will be impacting areas a little bit closer to areas that are just off right around Road G and Road J, and again heading toward Road 270 here in Kansas. So getting some of the local storm reports, again well over an inch-size hail, and then we've all again had that cone tornado being reported as well. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into our special coverage of severe weather. We are still following dangerous storms in central Oklahoma. Now a tangle of tornado warnings in effect here south and east of Oklahoma City. Cleveland, Pottawatomie counties under warning right now. Another warning just off to the east of that, and that is for Pottawatomie County. Let's look at the velocity data. A lot of different things showing up here. You see there's a kind of a broader circulation near Bethel Acres right now. There's also a very tight circulation. Look at that. I mean, that was almost certainly a tornado right in there north of Pink. That lifting up and actually moving now northwest before it dissipated. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Moving now northwest while these cells are moving to the east, so getting totally wrapped into the broader circulation of the storm. Let's see if there was some debris showing up along with that. Yep, sure enough, as I said, that was definitely a tornado there. Then we'll go back out again. Span the picture. Very broad circulation near Bethel Acres right now and coming towards Shawnee, so we'll need to keep an eye on that and see if that tightens up a little bit. Also something else that is a little more broad that is near Pink. This is an area where we've seen a number of tornadoes. We did have a tornado already near Pink, and we had the one that just passed to the north of Pink just moments ago. So right there, you see that, how that passed just to the north of Pink, that tight area there, and now something very broad nearer Pink. So a lot of different things happening simultaneously with these storms. It has been rather remarkable. This one in particular that passed near Pink, you can see how it has gone back and forth between being intense and not as intense. So as it was coming towards Etowah, right there, very intense circulation right there, and we did have a report of a tornado near Etowah. Then we go forward, kind of washes out a little bit, gets intense once again. I mean, really takes off right in there. There was absolutely a tornado right there. Then we go forward, begins to weaken again. We see something else showing up southeast of Pink, right about in here. And then we go forward once again, and we see that tornado that actually just completely took a left there. So you follow the track of this very same tornadic circulation, and it just completely took a left. That was the track of that one circulation. Absolutely remarkable. And now there's a new tornado warning for this area that we talked about moments ago, this sort of broader circulation. So this is a tornado warning that is in effect for Pottawatomie, but this is more towards the Shawnee area. And that is actually tightened up. We said we need to watch out and see if that tightens up. And indeed, that has just started to tighten up, and it's now lifting, looks like, to the north. So following that, let's track that forward and see where that's going to be headed in the next few minutes here. That's coming into Gaddy right now, and then moving into Clark's Heights beyond that at about 9:34. So heads up in those areas. Got a possible tornado coming your way. Let's see if there's any debris. There is debris now showing up, so we do actually have a tornado just north of Bethel Acres. And again, that is going to be coming up towards, let's put this in one more time here. That is going to be coming up right into that I-40 corridor and moving towards Gaddy and also moving towards Clark's Heights. So please get to your safe place right now. I've got a tornado ongoing right now coming into Gaddy and also coming up into Clark's Heights and moving towards that I-40 corridor. Then farther off towards the northwest, ongoing severe warning here for Cleveland and Oklahoma counties, but things are improving in the Oklahoma City metro area. So at least 3 reports of tornadoes so far, many reports of large hail in the central part of Oklahoma, and an ongoing tornado watch through late tonight. But we also have severe storms and tornado warnings farther north, and Todd's got more on that for us.
Yeah, in fact, the ongoing tornado warning continues here in Kansas. Radar indicated tornado warning, but it has there's been reports of at least a while back that this tornado had been observe on the ground. This is for Lyon and Osage counties here in Kansas until 10 o'clock. So the top of the hour, 33 minutes from now. This is the ongoing tornado warning that just passed basically through the Americas area. Now it is heading just to the south of Agnes City here in Kansas. So you can see some cities will be impacted by this: Barclay, Ivy, and Waterloo. And it's still a bit of an inflow notch that's coming in there. But when I go back over to velocity mode, you can really pick up the circulation there a little better. Let me go back just a couple frames here and show you where it's coming from. So right through Americus, we had a bit of that rotation that is moved through, and then now we have a little rotation again that is coming out of this. One thing I've noticed, it's broadening out a bit. So instead of using a cone, I'm just going to end up going right along this entire line, and I'm going to track this thing out. So some cities that can be impacted by this: Ivy at 9:36, so really but just about 8 minutes from now, and then Miller at 9:41. So certainly you need to take cover with this. It's already had a history of at least having some tornado activities on the ground. There's a bigger perspective there, seeing some of the big cities around there. Wilmington and Osage City, keep an eye on this. You may not be in the tornado warning for now, but this thing has had a history of being on the ground. Americus. Not only this, we just have large hail that is being reported, well over an inch, inch and a half, and even some areas bigger than that. Look at it in Cottonwood Falls, 2.5 inch size hail. And again, this cell has had a history of having tornadoes there. A little farther off to the north, Douglas, Osage, and Shawnee counties here in Kansas, looking at severe thunderstorm warning until the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. And just want to show you some of the hail tracks. So there is some large hail also being reported here. So keep an eye on this in Lawrence, as we could be easily seeing an inch, inch and a half, maybe even larger hail come in your direction. You need to certainly take caution immediately. And we're going to continue to keep our eye on this. Tornado watch remains in effect for parts of Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska until 11 o'clock.
And welcome back to our coverage of severe weather. We are still following some very intense storms in central parts of Oklahoma as well as into Kansas and Iowa. Let's begin in Oklahoma, and just a whole series of tornado warnings here associated with what looks like is now just a massive cell, maybe a couple of cells that have managed to merge together into one, very large one. And one of the most recent warnings in effect for Pottawatomie County, we did see a tornado on radar here just moments ago. I'm going to go back a few frames right in there. You see that just north of Bethel Acres, right there, very tight circulation. And we also saw debris signature along with that, but it was transient. So right there, that's where the debris showed up. And now it's no longer showing up. And the circulation is broader. It's not as tight. It's not as well defined. It is broader, but there is still a circulation there. And so we'll just track that forward and show you where that's going to be headed. That's coming up and across I-40. Looks like it might be coming towards the Ada-Lot area in the next few minutes here. But, I'll go back several frames, and it's just been remarkable how many different areas that we have been watching over the last, several minutes. So we had that one that I just talked about, had a tornado with that. We had a debris signature with that right there. Then let's go back a couple more frames, and we had a tornado that developed just northeast of Pink. So you can see it right here. It actually was moving to the northwest around this very large circulation. You can see it very clearly right there. Then we'll go back even before that, and you can see there was one to the southeast of Pink right in there. So it's just been a very complicated setup here, and then another very intense one farther to the south. But right now, just got this massive supercell, kind of a merger of cells that continues to move up through this area, and some threat for a tornado moving towards the Shawnee area. You still see this inflow right in here near Pink, so that's an area that we definitely want to keep our eyes on. Just kind of tracking that forward. Let me go back, and we'll get a sense of where that's headed. Just kind of following that broader inflow notch there. just because really anywhere along there we could see some tornadic development. That's coming towards Bethel Acres, also moving towards Shawnee and moving towards Tecumseh as well. So in any of those spots, just be aware, got a big nasty cell that is now beginning to move in, and was something we certainly want to continue to keep our eyes on. So we've had several reports of tornadoes. Most recently, this is the one that I just talked about moments ago that was not terribly far away from Shawnee. So that's the Bethel Acres. We saw that debris signature there, and also many reports of tornadoes across the Oklahoma City metro area. But also a serious threat farther north, and here's Todd with more on that now.
As far as the severe storms go, we're starting to see a little bit less as far as severe thunderstorm warnings, but the ongoing tornado warning does continue. Now it is just off to the, well off to the now north and east of Emporia. So now we're looking Lyon and Osage counties under that tornado warning until the top of the hour, about 24 minutes from now. It does look like it's become a little more broad here, but you can see town of Ivy. You are right in this. So there was a little bit of a rotation early, but we're still seeing a bit of one, at least for right now. The one thing I also want to point out, I will track this out here for a moment, and then the other thing I want to point out is the fact that we are looking at some very large hail that's coming out of this. Miller 950, you're going to be impacted, and also the town of Waterloo at 953. But this is not just only a we need to worry about the tornadic threat with this, because large hail is a major threat here. This cell itself has had history of having a tornado on the ground, but look at the hail core that's coming out of this. So Ivy, I would not be surprised we end up seeing at least inch and a half size hail, maybe even larger. And I just want to keep this on here and just point out that we're looking at a decent size of hail here just to the south and west of Ivy. But when we look over, we can actually see some of the hail being picked up here, and I would not be surprised a little bit south of Ivy as well. We could be seeing some very large hail coming out of this. So this is a really double threat here in Kansas. Really a good part of today, where a lot of the activity is bringing large hail. Of course, we've had the tornado threat coming out of this, but just keep in mind Osage City and Wilmington, this cell and really this big line of large hail is going to be heading in your direction. Already had a history of the tornado being on the ground with this. Saffordville, off-duty National Weather Service employee reported a cone tornado, and again, looking at an inch and a third hail. Also a little bit longer ago, Cottonwood Falls, 2.5 inch size hail, getting some reports, some car damage there, and also a Strong City law enforcement, off-duty National Weather Service employees reported the tornado that was on the ground. Farther to the north and east, Douglas, Osage, Shawnee counties here in Kansas under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock. So again, hail is always going to be the threat, but as we've seen, we could end up seeing a tornado come out of this, so certainly have to keep our eye on that. I do want to show some other severe thunderstorm warnings that have been coming up, mainly in Iowa for now, so giving you a bigger perspective first, and then going to zoom in back to this particular cell right around and just to the north of Ridgeway, because I'm going to show you what the hail had looked like. And again, this has been one of those days where the hail has been quite significant. You can see that continues to hold together to the north of Ridgeway. So the possibility of at least inch and a half, maybe even larger hail that will continue. Lawrence, keep an eye on this, because this will continue in your direction. And now farther off to the north, let me just zoom in and show you farther off to the north in Iowa here. There we go, now to the east of Omaha, here in Iowa, Potawatomi County, under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30. And again, hail is going to be the main threat with this. We've seen some hail reports coming just to the east of Plattsmouth, Nebraska. So that is looking at least potential for some very large hail coming your direction. And then farther off to the north in Des Moines, you can see that the severe thunderstorm warning is also just to your west. Let me zoom in here and give you some perspective. So this is also going to be something that's going to be bringing the threat for some large hail. And for this particular cell, that is for Boone, Dallas, and Polk County until 9:45. So really, I would not be surprised if that ends up getting pushed farther off to the east, or at least be extended a little bit farther off to the east. But again, hail is always going to be the threat with a lot of these storms. That's been the big thing for us today. You can see some of the hail reports, or at least some of the hail numbers to the west of Waukee, Iowa here. Again, inch and a half, maybe even larger hail that'll be coming out of this. Let me go back to reflectivity mode and look at these cells just to the north of northwest Iowa. So Bryan County in Iowa under a severe thunderstorm warning until next couple of minutes from now. So hail is going to be the main threat, and then now it's starting to head toward and get a little bit closer to Minnesota here, where we have a severe thunderstorm warning still on the Iowa side of things for Lyon and Sioux County. That's until 9:45, but I will not be surprised if this ends up pushing farther off to the north and west and eventually get into Minnesota, where we have, at least so far today, haven't had much in the way of severe weather, but the possibility of more severe weather could be coming your way. Bigger perspective showing these severe thunderstorm watches and the tornado watches remain in effect as that's until 11 o'clock. So we still have at least another hour and 20 minutes left of the tornado watch for a chunk of northeast Kansas, a little sliver of northwest Missouri, and then part of eastern Nebraska, and a good part of west and southwest Iowa, all under the tornado watch. You notice the other end of this, the yellow shade here, that is a severe thunderstorm watch. That is also in effect until the 11 o'clock Central Time. So just keep an eye on that. But Carl, when you look at a day like today, I mean, have you seen? When was the last time you've seen tornado warnings that have popped up where it just is so hard to follow these storms and the direction they're going? Because you've been tracking these storms for quite some time, not only here, but just over the course of Weather Channel. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, this is one of those days when we have what's called deviant motion, when you do have these, you know, these storms that are kind of curving as they develop. There is a live look at Shawnee in Oklahoma under a tornado warning right now. We are watching a circulation that does appear to be headed for Shawnee right now. Look at the intense lightning from that storm. Wow, you see the CG right there showing up, cloud to ground strike, and just, you know, non-stop flashing. I mean, you know, I've said this many times, but, you know, if you've grown up in the eastern part of the country, even the southeastern part of the country, the storms that you get in the plains are just entirely different animals. They really are. They're just a whole new level of thunderstorm. I do want to show you the circulation on radar that is coming towards the Shawnee area. So right in here, there is a swirl right there, and that is now generally moving towards Shawnee and Route 177 and Tecumseh as well. So heads up there. We need to watch and see if that tightens up. That is now beginning to move in. We'll have more coming up in a few minutes. Well, we are interrupting right now to bring you the latest on a very dangerous storm that is coming into Shawnee, Oklahoma, a town of about 32,000 people, and a large and dangerous tornado now moving into that town. There you see a live feed, and let's zoom in and show you where this is. A storm is now moving towards the northeast at about 25 miles per hour, so Pottawatomie County under warning until 10:15. Let's take a look at the radar and show you where this is now. Very strong circulation showing up, and it's now just southwest of Shawnee. So again, this is the town of about 30,000 people. Very broad and strong circulation now beginning to move into Shawnee. There is a look at that circulation. You see it wrapped up right in there. That is a likely tornado, confirmed large and dangerous tornado now coming into Shawnee. So if you are in Shawnee, you need to get to your safe place right now. Lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. If you've got a helmet, that's a great idea as well, but you've got just moments here. Now, these storms are not moving incredibly quickly. We've had a motion here east northeast about 25 miles per hour, but it is now coming into Shawnee, and so you've got just moments before it spreads right across the town of Shawnee. Let's see if there's debris showing up. We are seeing some debris. You see those green values right in the middle of that swirl right there. Very strong, very broad, but strong rotation. And then also, as we look at the regular reflectivity, that is most likely the tornado now coming into Shawnee. So again, folks, if you're in Shawnee, please take cover right now. You've got a confirmed, and this is the language from the National Weather Service, confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado now moving moving about 25 miles per hour. Looks like northeast and coming right into Shawnee. I'm going to go back a couple of frames here so you can get a sense of the motion. You can see how it's moving right up and towards Shawnee. So coming up on the west side there, and that big area, that big circulation, that big loop basically is the tornado itself. It's starting to come into Shawnee right now. So again, please get to your safe place immediately there in Shawnee. Extremely dangerous situation. We're going to follow this closely. We've had a lot of tornadoes being reported across parts of Oklahoma today already, and we'll have more coverage as necessary right here on the Weather Channel. Stay with us. Well, we are interrupting programming right now to tell you about an extremely dangerous storm, a confirmed large and dangerous tornado now coming into the town of Shawnee. There's an ongoing tornado warning here, considerable threat tag along with that. There you see the velocity data as the storm is now moving into Shawnee. I'll go back one frame here and we can look at some of the wind that is now moving in. There's an inbound velocity that is outbound relative to the radar, but coming right into Shawnee, 114 miles per hour. And so we've got a tornado now moving into Shawnee. This little area right in there, that little bit of a spin right there is the tornado that is now coming into Shawnee. And we can also look at the correlation coefficient. So that right there is that little area of green is where we are seeing some debris showing up. We go back one frame, you can see it coming up on the west side of Shawnee there along Route 177. That's where the radar is detecting non-meteorological targets. And so Shawnee being hit by a tornado right now, our hearts going out to those folks in the Shawnee area. A very tough night there. And then you've got another tornado warning that has just been issued. So this is extending that same storm, which is now moving more almost to the north right now. That's Pottawatomie County under warning. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and so we can kind of follow that forward. Again, we're watching this area right there. That's the circulation. It's sitting right over Shawnee and moving off to the north. And so on that trajectory, coming towards the Idelot area here, or Idelot area in the next, say, 10 minutes or so, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, as that continues to move north. So that's about ready to cross 40. There's a brand new scan there. So moving that forward a little bit, it's about ready to cross I-40. Again, we're watching that right there. Has just come through the Shawnee area, about ready to move past Interstate 40 and move towards Idelot or Idelot as well. And we've had several reports of tornadoes already tonight. Cole, a massive tornado coming through that area. A lot of very serious damage around Cole and Goldsby. Also, Etowah, Pink, tornadoes reported there. Bethel Acres, that happened fairly recently. And then many reports of a large hail in and around Oklahoma City. Ongoing tornado watch here through the central part of the state and then also up into the northeast part of the state. But this is not the only area that we're watching. Todd's got more on what's going on farther north.
Yeah, in fact, the ongoing tornado threat for Kansas, at least for now, has been allowed to move more into a severe thunderstorm warning. But notice that the towns are going to be impacted. Lawrence, Kansas, you're now in the new severe thunderstorm warning that is heading in your direction. That is for Douglas, Jefferson, and Shawnee counties until 10 o'clock p.m. local time. And then the new one that just popped up to the south of there, that's for Douglas, Jefferson, and Shawnee County until 10:45. The bigger thing with this is we've had a history of some very large hail that has come out of this cell in the past just to the north of Carbondale. So a lot of areas will be looking at the possibility for some very large hail that will be moving in your direction. So just be aware about inch and a quarter, maybe upwards of an inch and a half hail moving in your area. So again, that is for a good part of Kansas, Osage, and Wabansia counties. Also until 10:15, your severe thunderstorm warning is also in effect. And I wanted to show you that a tornado watch remains in effect for these areas as well. That is until 11 o'clock Central Time, so at least another hour from now. That does include Omaha and parts of western Iowa, as well as northwest Missouri and far northeast Kansas. So we're not quite done with the tornado threat.